I'm looking right at Al Leiter. Al, welcome back. Good to have you back on the show. We have John Heyman, old reliable, sitting here next to me in the pundit chair.
I like that nickname.
That's Tommy Henrik. That's
nice.
Old reliable.
Yes, good player.
Sarah Langs is with us once again from MLB.com. Sarah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was surprised by this, John. I thought, given that a bunch of teams like the Mets had Cespedes, Castellanos, goes to the Reds, they kind of got lucky in that sort of thing. I thought, I bet you the gap's not much. It's a little bigger than I thought.
Actually, I feel the other way. It's less than I thought. I think some of the NL teams are well equipped for the DH, including the ones that you mentioned. Milwaukee certainly with Braun, the Cubs with Schwarber, and the Mets, if healthy, Cespedes could be a dynamo. So I think some teams are very well equipped, and the Dodgers too, with all that depth, they're going to have an extra excellent player.
And those are the teams that I mentioned. I didn't have one clip after another of this team has nothing. This team has next to nothing. I didn't do that. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that ultimately it's just going to add to offense so much, even if the National League may be at a little bit of a disadvantage, as you said, compared to the American League. If you look at how American League number 9 hitters hit last year compared to National League pitchers, and obviously that's not exactly where we're replacing it, but just if you look at that weakest spot in the lineup, the American League number 9 hitters were still a lot better than those National League pitchers. And I love to watch Madison Bumgarner hit home runs. I love to watch Zach Greinke get hits. But ultimately, this is going to help offense overall. And if the National League teams are a little bit of a disadvantage overall, it'll all work out.
All right, so you played the National League game a long time. When there was interleague and that sort of thing, did you feel like, we're not ready for it? Or what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, I thought in a particular World Series in '93, when we didn't know where to put Paul Molitor, and he was our best hitter, he had an arm issue, put him at first, and they actually put him at third and took out Ed Sprague.
That's the other side of things. And that's happened where my DH can't play in those games. Right.
Listen, I think there's so much bad that came from what's going on here with COVID. But I think if there is a silver lining of the potential of what might happen whenever this agreement is, 2 leagues in the world that have pitchers hit, right? The Central League in Japan and the National League. I'm not going to get into the debate as to why we continue to talk about it. However, I do think
you're bringing it up.
Well, okay.
You want to get into the debate or not? So
so I say snapshot. I'm saying this year, 60 games, whatever it is, throw it against the wall, do crazy stuff, cameras all over the place, music. We're talking about all this. This is a chance. And if I had my player hat on right now and I'm playing National League, you betcha I don't want to face a DH, as you just showed the numbers, Sarah. It's harder to navigate. But when you look at what's going on with respect to where we are in the National League and what it means to have an offensive player, not a pitcher, hit, I'm a fan of that. And I would never have said that as a player because I pitched. I'd rather face.
All right, moving forward, are you in favor of that? Would you like to see a DH?
I am. I think we're there. Whatever. I have no say. But in particular with these clubs, the Mets stand out to me. Cespedes. What are you laughing at there, John?
You said you had no say, and you have enormous sway.
No, I have no say.
I'm reading between the lines. BK not a big fan of these switches.
I'm not a big fan at all. I don't like it. For this year, yes, of course. Just to be healthy and stay out on the field, of course. So I like it for this year.
So forever National League pitchers hit.
Yeah. I would take it out of the American League too. I'm down on the DH. I like the strategy of old school baseball. That's what I like.
So you are old school.
Yes, I like that. That because it forces managers to think. I wasn't thinking of getting into that debate too. That was classic Al Leiter. I don't wish to get into this debate. Let me bring up my points, and then you can't bring up your points.
Al, I was there in the '93 World Series when Al lashed a double. Right? I remember that beautiful hit by Al, and he's still going for the DH.
Here it is, John. Thank you. On cue. Thank you, Micah. Boom! Look at that line drive to left.
Oh, this is classic stuff.
It was the first extra base hit by an American League pitcher since Tim Stoddard. And I only say that because I played with Tim Stoddard. 1979, he was with the Orioles.
All right, as long as you brought out your personal highlights, let me bring out, and let me go to Sarah so I can just exclude you for a minute. You both did that, and you're both benched for a while. That's where I saw the difference, because I'm not thinking about it every day. And then come the World Series, we'd go to the National League Park, and it'd be like, oh, wow, this is a very different game. That's why I still like no DH.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what you said about you would rather just get rid of it everywhere. I mean, I think that ultimately my issue here is that we have 2 different rules in 2 different leagues, and it's just a little weird to be maintaining a sport in that way. I love seeing pitchers hit. If we could do that, I know that one's a lot less likely to happen. I would totally be down to see no DHs across the board, but with the direction the game's going.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I'm thinking. Can't that be on the agenda too? Can't that be on the menu? Where it's we have to think, well, it's clearly going to universal DH. Why does it have to be going to universal DH?
BK, there's 2 leagues on the planet, the globe, as it's circling around
Well, it used to be
sun.
the U.S. major leagues, both of them, no DH, because that was what Major League Baseball was.
I know, but that's not
You
where it
played
is.
Major League
I know,
Baseball.
I know.
from what
Listen,
understand.
if I was putting my cleats on right now, I'd be like, you betcha, pitcher's hit. I was terrible. I was one of the worst that ever stood in the box.
Not from the clips
Not
that we
one of
saw.
them.
You look pretty darn good.
below
there.
average.
I think I was
so
the
you're
worst.
see, I'm thinking. I think you're all wrong on this. Clearly, you saw the difference in our projections. That there's a vast difference. And if it's a team that's now look, if it's the Dodgers or the Mets that get to the World Series, yeah, it's negligible. If it's the Reds that get to the World Series, but then there's all these other teams, and I don't know, could it be the Diamondbacks getting in and somehow getting through? At that point, then the Diamondbacks will be like, we're not built for a DH.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of teams in the National League not built for a DH.
I think Sarah's right. It is weird to have two different rules, but I actually like weird. I think that's
You
the
didn't answer my
National League
question.
style of ball.
Wait, you're
It
not
doesn't-
answering my question.
I don't
this
think
year, don't you think there's a
think-
lot of teams that could possibly make the playoffs in the National League
Sure.
that are not equipped for that style ball?
You know, I wouldn't say that they're that bad. You take the D-backs, and let's say it was Lamb. They wouldn't be bad. If you take the Padres, Will Myers, he wouldn't be bad. I don't think I think all these teams would be okay with it. Now, we mentioned the best, which would be the Cubs with Schwarber and Braun and Cespedes, and, of course, the Dodgers with all of their talent, the Nats with all their talent. But I don't think any of them would be at an incredible disadvantage.
But BK, can I just, I'm sorry, but this is the way the rosters are set. So if you don't have a DH, you're not investing in that. We're not sitting around the room going, okay, boys, we got a DH. What are we going to do? Who are we picking? We don't have it. You go out and you spend it on your fourth starting pitcher. So, of course, the National League's at a disadvantage.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because they didn't have enough time to say, in 3 years, we've got to, we're getting the DH, so we have to devise our roster. So I'm just saying it is what it is. In light of what you're saying, what I just showed, yes, probably among the elite teams that would make the World Series, those are the teams that are equipped with a DH. So we're not likely to see a World Series or anything like that where, oh, this makes no sense. It'll likely be fine. But the gap was more than I thought. That's what I'm saying.
And you could go the other way, Sarah, when you got to figure out where to put Ortiz or somebody in the American League to put him in the lineup in a National League city.
Yeah, well, that's not happening this year.
I know.
It's not happening. And Big Papi retired. I don't know if you followed the news. You've been quarantined for a while.
I'm
but yes,
saying the fact that we keep talking about
Nelson Cruz, there are players that are great DHs who
but
figure out where to put them at this
DH.
point.
We're off to a flying start. We came back
Al.
last week.
It's Al.
It's
My
you.
fault.
Everything
He's
was
the new
fine.
one.
Everything
I was
in
here all
sync.
week. It wasn't me, because I was here all week and we were fine last week.
I don't know, but you're a contributor.
It's a tag team.